every brand you know that you recognize has a brand guidelines document. It helps keep them consistent, helps them dispatch with speed. They can hand off this document to a variety of consultants, and everything that they produce will be at least somewhat close to what the brand is going for. Brands like Nike, Starbucks, McDonald's, they all have one. A lot of them you could find online. What I decided to do was create a Claude Code skill called Brand Guidelines that will just spin it all up for you. We're going to go over what are some essentials to working with this skill and whether or not you even need to use the skill, because maybe you just need to build a brand guidelines document, and this video is going to help you format that and get that all right. So this video is a long time coming. We end up having to do the brand guidelines document for the sub-brand of potatoes called Potato Core, which is my brand. And my brand is all about what we will see here. So let's go through the index first. We have the gallery, which is unique to this particular brand because it's got a relevant gallery. Here we have 3 other brands, and those are going to be some of our case studies that we look at after we go through the primary brand, which is Potato Core. And all of this you can find at brands.potatocore.com. When you run the skill, you get a website that's got brand guidelines. You get the whole website with everything that you're going to see here. So it's really cheap. If you have the Claude Max plan, it's pretty cheap to run, but it just goes through everything. Now, every single step, you could probably spend hours refining and getting it right. But what we have here with the skill is the skeleton. Now, you're going to have to use your brain to apply a nervous system to it. You have to give it your finishing touches. And at the end, we're going to discuss an adversarial review. Now, when we're working with Claude Code, we're always trying to be the adversary. I find that I get the best results, not when I'm mean or rude, but sometimes when I'm mean or rude. Like, I will be so blunt, I'll take screenshots that maybe I could just use. I could probably just describe what I'm doing instead of dropping a screenshot in. But you give that stuff to Claude Code, and then you describe what you don't like about it. So without further ado, let's get deeper into this. A brand overview. I'm just going to read some of these because it was made for this. Every rule downstream of this document is an argument, and the overview is its premise. A brand book that opens with fonts is a style file. One that opens with who the brand serves and what it refuses to be can settle disputes. So you want 3 to 6 personality adjectives, each with a sentence of meaning, because an undefined adjective is decoration, and the construction principles the visual world must obey. The construction principles, the things which every product you create after that apply to this brand are those principles. You need principles when you're building brands for people or businesses for people, because let's say you have a documentation site for your platform, and you're selling this platform to a bunch of big businesses, but then some of it is just documents, right? But then other parts of it is like an actual application. Then you may be having like an AI chatbot that's like really good at understanding the documentation, but you have those separate, and maybe there's like tons of versioning and you're constantly on the cutting edge of updating things. So you end up with a variety of different products. This is all just for digital stuff too. With every brand though, whether it's like primarily digital or not, you're going to have a brand guidelines document that has these construction principles. It could be for clothes. It could be for the way that you create bouquets if you're like a flower shop. It could be when you're deciding what fabrics to use, like with regard, I think it's called DPI. That's what, I started working with a new distributor, and they're like using terms that I'm not familiar with. I'm like, I just want the designs to look nice. But I just got this. This is my little uniform now. I'm liking it. And the construction principles the visual world must obey. So for Potato Core, I don't want to do this. I just want to. My coach told me make a video for this, so I'm making a video for this. But in order to make a video for this, I need to get all of this script out anyways. So I might as well just share it. And I might as well run the skill on my own personal brand. I've done it for potatoes for potatoes, but not for Potato Core. So we have that here. Potato Core is me. I'm the brand. I'm the product. I'm the thing that, if you pay me money, I will show up for you and help you get integrated with Claude Code. Now, for Potato Core, like this is what you're getting if you start sending me money. You get an eclectic, tangential, extreme, versatile, and dense individual. Also kind of lazy, but lazy in a good way. Not lazy as in I'm not going to do the thing that you need me to do. Lazy in the way that I'm going to make sure that everything that you need me to do has already been done, and then I can not do stuff for a while. Because I think that the decision-making process actually takes way longer and is way more important than like the actual implementation in a lot of cases. Implementation, you either get it right or you don't. But the decision-making process, a lot of that is incumbent on the individual and their tastes. Like you might look at this website and be like, this is boring, it's dull, it's all dark, it looks pretty like standard out of the box stuff. And I would say you're right. That's what I want a Potato Core to be. So if I can't, my why for why I want to like help people with this stuff, if I can learn to love what I once hated, maybe there's hope for this world. Thinking one way once doesn't mean we can't change our mind. So this is the reality for me in potatoes. I used to hate them for 19 years. And if you knew me, you would have, like, if you really knew me, you would know that, like, oh, he does not like potatoes. He might look Irish, but he's not into that. Threw up on Thanksgiving on 2 separate occasions because I ate potatoes. Switched it up. Had a really good potato after working at an Irish pub. Now I love them. I eat them every day. I don't even need salt, pepper, or butter. I can eat it. It's got to be cooked. But for Potato Core, I'm sorry. You're trying to get the brand guidelines. A logo system is less about the mark and more about its survival. The background it must sit on, the smallest size at which it still reads, the clear space that keeps the neighbors from crowding it. Golden ratio construction grids are common, not because the ratio is magic, but because a stated geometry makes every future redraw consistent. Like, this is mine. I have my little, my potatoes animations in the back. It's just like, it's part of my brand. You know, we got these little, like, these potato guys. So I wanted it for this because it's also me. I'm the thing that's being sold here. Yeah, monospaced, lowercase. You're going to want to just take some time to clarify these things. When you run the skill, it can infer a lot from the directory that you use. And if you already have a project, you can just have Claude Code do this. But codify it somewhere. Get these design documents written somewhere so you can reference it every time you build a new project. Or if you're building on behalf of a client, you want a place where, like, hey, all of the stuff is in this particular location. And like for QAing, this is like the QA agent's dream. It's going to have a document where it's like, does this fall in line with these things? Now, this isn't all you need to build a business. I would say that there's there's a bunch of stuff, but here's a few other things that are vitally important. Probably the most important is the one that I'm about to say, the ICP, the Ideal Customer Profile. With your Ideal Customer Profile, which is another skill that I'll be making, it all has to do primarily with effectively characterizing who you're trying to serve. In my case, it's people who want to begin integrating Claude Code into their business. That's my product offering. Ideally, I want to work with people in the potato industry. I don't know if they're going to like working with me as much. So I might, because like I know a lot of them are farmers and I'm more of like this tech, I'm into tech. I might be working with people on the periphery that are supporting them in an advocacy lens. That might be the reality that I go, but I want to at least like support them, the people who are working the supply chain, the food processors, the agricultural folk. I want to work with these people. I find it very interesting. Finance them. I want to, like, if maybe I can. I have so many ideas. I don't want to get into it. For the colors, a lot of it has to do with conveying a message. Now, I haven't put too much thought behind Potato Core because I've already done this for potatoes. And Potato Core is a sub-brand of potatoes. So I've already put the thought into creating the other one. And this is just like a downstream effect. We're already seeing the benefits of what happens when you take a brand and you want to make somewhat of a spin-off brand. But this one is like dark mode. It's clearly different than the potatoes thing we see here. This is light mode. These are the colors primarily. But when we're getting into like the tech side of things, I'm very much a dark mode kind of guy. You'll never see me with like a very white screen in my background. It's jarring to me. I'm looking at the screen too much. Now for typography, there's a bunch of stuff that you can convey here. Quite frankly, I might in the future describe better all the different things with regard to typography. What do I mean? The different things with regard to typography. There's serifs. There's sans serifs. There's really like calligraphy is the art of making beautiful. Let me just not sound like a dummy. Calligraphy. Oh, one second. Calligraphy. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. Is the art of fancy writing. Yeah. So those would be more decorative fonts. Then you might have, I might have already said this, but just a display font. Display fonts look really good on screens. So, and the monospace ones are also really, like, monospace just means that every letter takes up the same amount of space. Some letters, there's like more, like the spacing between the letters, they're a little closer, some is a little farther away. Now, as we'll see as we go further, that decision may or may not mean a lot to you. It may or may not. If it doesn't mean a lot to you, great. It's still important to be like thoughtful in making a decision that you're going to be consistent everywhere. Now, maybe it's it's super important to you. If it's super important to you, you might as well codify those rules somewhere that you could always reference in the future. All of the big brands are doing this. Iconography. This isn't really a good all of the other ones have decent iconography that we display, but it looks like these ones are like declaring it in text. So you'll see as we move forward, iconography is the usage of like icons. I don't know. I'd have to make this more complicated than it is. It's icons. What icons are you using? Are they rounded? Are they really sharp? Do you use color in your icons? Are you giving thought to dark mode and light mode? And I'm like coming at this from a software engineering lens, but icons also appear in like print media. Maybe you're making posters or you have magazines. Are you using similar icons as like background decal elements throughout your printed products? Like, I really like how this has these stripes. I like the stripes. Now, a brand that I think that does this really well also is Marine Layer. They have, so as you can see here, you've got stripes, right? Let me see, I want to find their actual brand right here, this thing, their logo. I really like it. It reminds me of the horizon. Now, there's red at the top, and then it goes into yellow. I think it's an interesting choice. My favorite, I bought something of theirs, and I absolutely love it. It's I don't even know if I'm going to be able to find it. It's this blue, I'll probably be able to Google it. Marine Layer Sherpa jacket. It's this. Oh my goodness. If you don't have one, highly recommend it. So, and like you might not be able to, well, you can see the stripes right there, but maybe in like, and this might be a stretch, but one color, another color, another color. It's impressing upon you this idea of layers. So that is a subtle nod to it. That might not have been intentional. It might have been totally intentional. But quite frankly, I love how it cuts the product. It cuts it up. And I think even that gives you this idea of horizons. I think that the way that they chose that is really good. Now, photography is also really important. You really want a good headshot if you're making a personal brand. But just for everything that you're doing, like one of the brands that we're going to see is Tomatoes. Tomatoes is supposed to be a depth first, whereas Potatoes is breadth first. We're going depth first with Tomatoes. You don't want headshots of people in this brand that's about selling grow kits. We want like really fresh looking produce that just makes you want to grow an at-home garden. That's what we're going to see. We don't have photography for it yet, but we want to declare that in our brand guidelines document. If you have examples, even better. Quite frankly, it's just more work. And the payoff, what's the payoff? For an example like this, it depends on how far I want to take it. There's just so many projects that I'm working on. I'm trying to get things finished. And this is an example of one, brand guidelines. If a brand has characters, this section is a consistency contract. The roster, each character's one-line role. Yeah, so this matters for my Potatoes ecosystem because it's supposed to be like ideally 365. We have 52 right now, but really it's like 7 to 16 or like there's a bunch of these potato or potato adjacent characters who are supposed to exist as like agents that are running a business. So you have a chief executive officer, chief marketing officer. I'm yapping, right? McDonald's, Ronald McDonald, the Hamburglar, Grimace, characters, mascots. Put that in your brand guidelines documents. How do you use them? Who are those people? Important stuff. And I was talking to you, I mentioned earlier that the ideal customer profile is super important. Now, keep it in mind, I'm telling you to do it in this order because it helps for the generation of websites. Like the skill is going to be useful. If you get the brand guidelines first, then you get your ideal customer profile, then you get your go-to-market strategy. Great. We have 3 separate documents living in the Aether. But then we create the business operating system. That's another skill. It takes whatever you worked on and you do an adversarial review with those other 3. The brand guidelines document. What's the other thing? I forget. The brand guidelines document, the ideal customer profile, and the go-to-market strategy. You do an adversarial review of those. What is an adversarial review? You can either have the system itself, Claude Code, do the adversarial review, or you can do the adversarial review. Or you can have both happen at the same time, and you can use Git work trees to get both, and then compare and contrast what you like about both. Now, what is it? An adversarial review is just you talking about whatever it is you're working on. You're like, I don't like how this looks. I don't like one thing that this kept doing, and we might see it over here. Look at all this white space. If we look at my if we look at the conversation I had to get rid of that white space, I was like, I took a screenshot of this screen and I said, this is ugly. Why is there so much white space over here? Why is this such a consistent theme? And whenever we're generating this with Claude Code, it probably has to do with the actual skill that I made. But I used Claude Code to make the skill, and all I really wanted from the skill was the skeleton. Now, quite frankly, here's a little psychology hack. Pronouncing a word wrong is going to get people to pay attention. They want to correct you. But once you say something wrong, you get their attention real fast. So I think that this is me justifying making an incomplete skill, not QAing it well enough. Well, if it's giving the space here, maybe there's something you can put here that is maybe more useful for you. Like, I think in some instances you actually want this white space because you're going to put ads here. I don't like doing that with the stuff that I'm making. So I'm like, hey, give me that white space back, fill it out. I like how this one looks. I don't know how this is going to look on mobile. I mean, I'll optimize for that later, but I like how this is on web. So we're making the video. We're doing it. The UI components. Now, this one doesn't do the bridge from book to product. Buttons, cards, inputs rendered live from the tokens, real hover states, visible focus rings. Prove the system works before a product team bets on it. Now, that's UI components, right? User interface. This exists for all products, not just digital products. Everything's got a user interface, but there's also a user experience. So balancing both of those things, I think the user experience is encompassed by this entire brand guidelines document, trying to curate something for people. So be thoughtful and intentional about the decisions you're making here. Now, I don't think we have, because we're in dark mode, we don't really have shadows. But sometimes you want to give this like perspective of something being raised, something being elevated. The mind will judge that content differently when it's raised. Also, motion. A lot of these were supposed to be like fading in. In some of the other systems, you're going to see, in the potatoes guidelines, you're going to see that there's a carousel, and it's because I want to give that old time reel feel, that animation, that like a film clip. I like that style, that rubber hose 1930s style. So that's the motion that we have for something else. Now for this, because it's supposed to be like educational, this side on the left, and then also like what we're actually using, kind of meta, on the right. The motion was supposed to be like a reveal, and I think it did reveal. Yeah, it does reveal, so it is working properly. But you can like fine tune it. See, if we do an adversarial review on this one, that's something I would say. These are popping up too quick. I would prefer it if there was a button or a card where I can click it and then see it self-reflect on what it is. Yada, yada, yada. Layout. Spacing is the invisible brand, a stated scale. Yeah, so we get more into depth on layout later on. Voice and tone. You might already have an idea of this. Feed it in here. This is going to be something all your agents cling on to. Wow, I'm yawning. AI policy. I added this ad hoc recently. I said, some people hate AI. And when I had this auto-generate this, it said that Potato Core is AI first. I wouldn't say we're AI first here at Potato Core. Some of the brands that I make are going to be AI first, but my idea of AI first is the AI should be a self-sustained ecosystem that's running loops, trying to achieve some particular key performance indicators, trying to increase that value. I don't want that for Potato Core. I want it to be AI hybrid. I want I think AI hybrid businesses are like the ones where you're injecting, it's not entropy in the way that it's random, but you're injecting your taste. And that is the most valuable thing that we're going to have moving forward in this age of AI. If you don't have taste, you're not going to be able to make good decisions with AI. So if you have good taste, AI is for you. Don't let it burn out your taste, though. So like, I have other techniques for that I'd be happy to share. It's just like, you got to be careful. You can't let this brain rot you, because it will try. You will try. Sub-brands and ecosystem. Yeah, so this exists within the Potatoes ecosystem. That's the umbrella. Potato Core is the engineering/consulting side. Now, I also have a little TikTok where it's potatocore.mp4, and I just yap about stuff. Sometimes I have really cold takes. A recent one was, it was pretty bad. I said, I don't like when people introduce a TikTok video with their credentials. Like, I kind of positioned it like it was like self-aggrandizing, saying, look how smart I am. I graduated. Listen to me. Whereas for me, like, I don't care in a TikTok video what your credentials are. I'm going to look up facts if they're interesting and might apply to me. That's just how I go about acquiring information. If someone tells me that they're this or they're that, now it becomes incumbent on my mind to look up and verify that about them. And I could care less about that about them if I'm watching a TikTok video. If you put some high quality content and then put it at the end, your credentials, I'm like, okay, that was a super interesting fact. Like, who is this guy? Who is this girl? Let me, and then they say it, even better. But if I swipe in and I see it in your bio, why did you waste 5 seconds in every single video telling me exactly who you are if it's in your bio? If you're that interesting and you're going to provide me valuable content, don't waste my time. I said I'll block. I will block you if you're going to waste time like that. Which, okay, it's totally irrelevant to this. I plan on making another video of this particular video where I take in some feedback that I get from my coach, asset governance. So naming conventions are going to be really valuable, because if you want a parser if you want to tell Claude Code, hey, we got all these files from our photographer, or we got all these assets generated from our designer, or like you just went on a huge haul with like Midjourney or OpenAI and you have a bunch of images, having a strategy for how you name your images is going to be really useful for AI, and pulling those files in and mapping them accordingly to the vision that you have in mind. Now, a lot of this, like, I can't emphasize this enough. A lot of how I'm describing this is like digital dependent, but it's not all about everything being digital. Like asset naming. Think for this is a tennis. This is supposed to be like a tennis jersey. I have this vision where I have like tens of thousands of dollars that I'm just spending on sports gear that I'm supplying to like local teams. And my goal would be, you have like these exhibition matches, almost like the Savannah Banana baseball team, but it would be potatoes versus tomatoes and other like, it's potato centric. I have a vision for it. They would be competing, and I would want a drone operator getting action shots of all these players to kind of give them that like motivation, give them that little ego boost where it's like, look, this is an action shot. You did a really good job here. We got you scoring, or like you're dunking, or you just scored a goal, or it was a really good kick and we followed the ball really well. And then like we turned out around, the drone operator turned it around and then centered it on you. Like you're smiling, and then it zooms in on your mom who's like screaming in the crowd, and your dad's like clapping there for the first time. He's proud of you, you know. So like I have this vision of that. But okay, so let's say I do that in one town. What if I did that in 5 towns or 20 towns? How am I going to name those videos when they come in? How am I going to identify them? If I have an asset and naming and governance rule, When I give my contract to the drone operator in one of those 20 cities, they're going to know how I want it when it comes back. I don't know if they're going to like follow that, but if I'm paying them money and I wrote up the contract, I could be like, hey, you didn't name these the way I asked for them. And like, that's in the contract. So that's something that you can make a decision about. It really comes down to like how you want to run your business. But what we're going to do next is we're just going to review these other three. Just as an overview, Potatoes is the container umbrella brand for Potatoes, Hot Potato Games, Potato Core, Potato Literature, and quite frankly, even more. There's one called Crispy Crisps. It doesn't exist yet, but it's going to be within my ecosystem. And I'm going to run this brand scale for other brands, but these are just the ones we have now. Like I haven't even run it for the sub brands yet. But we have one for Tomatoes, which is like the pseudo rival company of Potatoes. But Potatoes is breadth first. Tomatoes, it's depth first. So it's a really one-sided rivalry. Tomatoes, the idea is they don't even care about Potatoes. Potatoes, on the other hand, they're going breadth first. So they're not really acquiring market share. They're more banking on this idea of force multiplication by using AI. Whereas Tomatoes, when I get Tomatoes started, it's we're selling grow kits. We're selling just grow kits. And we're targeting Italian Americans and Mexican Americans as hard as we can. Like that is the goal. So we have our ideal customer profile, which is people who want to grow their own food. And we have like a demographic that we want to reach. I would say a lot of people who live in Mexico or people who live in Italy are more agriculturally minded than the average American citizen. But you have a lot of Mexican Americans and Italian Americans who feel a bit estranged from their culture, but they yearn for a connection and some type of national pride other than the American national pride. Some people are really like it's a hot topic, the American national pride. So these are decisions and things that you would say to the Claude Code agent while you're doing this process. I did that for Tomatoes, and we're about to see a bunch of stuff. So I'm just prepping you for that. So here we have the Tomatoes. We've actually done 10 iterations of this, and I'll just show you, let me see, like, okay, we go through these ones, we go through all of these. Let's go to this was the first attempt, slop, right? It's, well, not too much slop. I see this pattern right here. I really don't like it. I mean, it kind of works for the Tomatoes. I think it would make more sense if the card was red and then this was green on top. But then I would also want like little like leaves that go like here. And you'll see as it gets more sophisticated, we get those designs more pronounced. But one vertical root, one vertical served to the root. So home tomato growers, that's our audience. Tomato adjacent makers, salsa, pasta, ketchup, preserves. The plant companion curious, people drawn to technology with a soul. So we're tricolor, it's white, red, and green. The plant is alive, it's vertical first, depth over breadth, and Tomatoes stand alone. There's no sibling brand where Potatoes has Potato Core, Hot Potato Games, yada, yada, yada. Tomatoes is Tomatoes. 3, it gets a little bit more sophisticated. We tidy some things up. Nope, barely. Let's go to 4. At some point, it starts to become very apparent that work was done. I wanted it to be... So while you're working on this, the skill is supposed to be generating a lot for you. But if you're not familiar with Claude Code, you don't know how much agency you have. So I added this. Too much white space on this side. Describe some decals in this session. Flags, vines, tomatoes, and they'll be integrated here. Excellent. All right. So it's still pretty bad. Tomatoes. We've got the colors now, though. I think it did it. I like these colors. Pomodoro red. Pomodoro, I think, means tomato. Nopal green. Stucco white. Sun-warmed wall. We've got pairings. You don't want Pomodoro red on Midnight Vine. It's a band pairing because of WCAG AA. That has to do with accessibility standards. A mid-range digital accessibility standard that requires... You can get sued if you're not... I think what this is telling me is if I tried to do this, I could get sued because some people would... There's like laws saying like people can't see that well enough, so you're not allowed to do it. Whether you agree with it or not, doesn't matter. It's the law. So Piazzolla, sounds Italian. Archivo, Argentina. I've never heard Argentine definition. Does that mean, okay, means silver or silvery coming from the country Argentina. Argentinum, which means silver. So it's two Argentine silvery voices. Bubba. He's eating, and I'm not sure if you can hear that. It's not animal abuse to tell my dog stop while I'm making a video because he wants to say hello. All right, so borrow strokes, not grammar. So yeah, here's an example of iconography. We want, it says drawn, not shot. No photo library exists. It's illustrated. I disagree with that. So we iterate. In our next iteration, we see that gets a little bit further. And another thing that I had this do, I do like these, what are these called? This is our display, Piazzolla. I like our typography choices. Drawn, not shot, sun-warmed, inhabited, Bodigon, honest, Bodigon. Don't know what that means. A type of painting. Yes, I do want that. I did say that I want this to be inspired by that type of art. So this was my favorite. I really like this green. I think it says that the red you're not allowed to put on it, but I think this as a dark mode actually works really well. And I had it put this little style preview where, like a developer, we have our standard spec, we have a patch where it's just subtly different. We have a minor update, which is a little brighter actually. And then we have the major update, which would be the dark mode. You don't have to do it that way. You could say, I just want a light in a dark mode. You can even have like, you can ask the system, hey, make seasonal modes. Let's see, typography. Yeah, we want Latin American foundries. Both of these are free on Google Fonts. That's important. When you're choosing your typeface, you're going to have options that might cost money. I think Adobe has some paid options. You'll find them all on the internet, but make sure that the ones that you're using, you legally have the right to use them in commercial products. Some of them will let you use it as long as you're not selling things. And I think a lot of them will let you use it as long as you're not selling the font as a product. All right, so one name plainly sourced. I think these are good. Let's just get to the head. I think 10 is the head. See, it took it out here. I don't know if I like that. I liked how it was before. So we have tomatoes. Oh, I do like this one. This was a whole different iteration. Like one was when I was working. Like, okay, yeah. This was when I was first building the skill. This is where I landed, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't even made the this yet. I hadn't made this yet, and I was just trying to get the skill to a place where it was good enough. And then I was like, you know what? Do the adversarial review. That's the important part. If you do the adversarial review, the content's going to come out a lot better. So the name is the mark. Yeah, so we have all of these. One name sourced plainly. You would want to upload your documents here. Bubba, come here, Bubba. Someone's going to be like, stop bothering your dog. He's eating. He will leave his food for like 7 hours, but the moment I start recording, he'll start drinking water and eating. I love him. Tomatoes. We're growers. We like to grow. That's the system. So this was the most recently generated one that was separate from the other version. It didn't have a reference to the other one. And yet some of the styles still kind of converged. Like obviously the red, white, and green. But I also in this one said I wanted some festival variants that we can use. So Dia de los Muertos kind of looks German. La Tomatia, that kind of look, or Tomatina. That's this one. Then you have the Italian harvest, which is Vendemmia. I've never heard of that. Oak and linen warm the frame, Italian specifically. I mean, yeah, those are like some unique color combinations right here. And we've got, did it make the same choice on the soft heritage serif? Frances and intertight. So it actually went with different ones. And like you can do that with this skill. You can run it a few times until you get one that you like. And then you can mix and mash and just, because sometimes you don't even know what you're searching for. And you don't necessarily want to give all of the agency to AI, but you can give enough of it where you can start making choices and then kind of like hybridize them. All right, so real, that was the whole answer. Natural light, yep, hands in frame, culture on location, growth visible, kit in use, grower portraits. I do like that. I mean, before, like, but it changes things. So you got to make sure that you tell it what you want. Built to sell grow kits. So you start growing, see the kit sold out. We have barely there on purpose. One thing that I was important was these animations. So it's got a little rustle to it, right? Ripening. Oh, you know what though? I don't even think. So I tried to pull in all of the different ones. There's one that it didn't pull in that I actually really liked, and I'm gonna. Is it this one? It's not this one either. So it's gonna take me a sec. Uh, let me just find it because it was potato skills. ls open this. We have examples for tomatoes. I think it's this one. Is it this one? It's not that one. Dang it. I might not be able to find it. It had these decals that I really liked. Let's try CD tomatoes, ls CD tomatoes design, ls npm run dev. Nope, just open index.html. It's that same one? No. ls cd ls cd archive, ls ed attempt, ls cd 11, ls open cd site. Sorry, I'm doing something elsewhere. I know this is probably really boring, but nope. All right, I can't find it. Dang it. Yeah, this is one of the problems with. I have goals, I have things that I'm focused on, but the problem is there's so many different things that I could demonstrate that like some things just end up getting lost if it's not paying me money. Like, quite frankly, these are just examples. I don't know why I care so much about an example, but there's this really good one where I might be able to find it. Potatoes. I know this is probably not acceptable behavior. CD tomatoes ls np or open index. Yeah, I'm not gonna find it. Well, you could imagine, and I mean maybe we just make it again. I don't think that's gonna happen though. It was so like right here it was green, and there were just like leaves on it, like little decals, and they were fluttering in the wind. So that's an option that you have. You know what? I'm just gonna tell it to do that. In the meantime, no, this is the live version. All right, so now we have I don't know what I'm doing. This is another one that we made. I don't know what I'm doing was at the beginning of me with Potato Core, I wanted to show people that while you're building with this skill, while you're building with Claude Code, you have the capacity to like add these hooks into Claude Code itself through the use of updating the claude.md file. When you update the claude.md file, you can tell it things like, hey, when I ask a question, make a blog post and a multiple choice question on whatever question I asked to verify that the answer you gave me, I actually internalized. I know that sounds like a lot. What I'm basically saying is, hey, when I ask a dumb question, make sure that I get smarter by the end of the session. So that's what I don't know what I'm doing was mainly about. And I was like, I really didn't like the style before. It might not even be live yet, this new version. It's not. This is the current version. And it's like, it's kind of potato themed, right? Because Potato Core, I don't know, Potato Core, right? We got the potato there. But the reality is, I wanted it to be more Atlantean themed. I wanted Akashic Record vibe. I wanted this. So the actual one I like Deepwater. So the place you go because you don't know. I don't know is a library of rooms, one per day, that answers your questions and then refuses to let the answer slide off you. The visitor is the I in I don't know. The institution knows. So it's cerebral, it's unhurried, it's digestible, anticipatory. We do a lot of testing here. We're humble but proud. We like that we made something creative here, where we have the ability to ask questions, and it makes us smarter. So this I think I've if I launch the actual version of I don't know what I'm doing, what was it? CD ls cd potato core ls cd I don't know ls npm run dev. Now it's running at 4747 localhost. I think I already told it I wanted to do it in deep water, and look, there it is. Now, it didn't fix the side thing issue, but it gave us, it like restyled our website, which is what we wanted. Now, see, it's a brand guidelines. It's not necessarily a web framework. You could make the brand guidelines that, but then it becomes less of what it's intended to be. All right, so what else do we got here? Brand guidelines. We've got naming and governance. Usually these are pretty standard, but I don't know. The mark, primary, reverse, the SVG, category, label, variant, and then the extension. Declaring those up front helps. So the voice and tone is supposed to speak like the librarian of the Akashic Records, or maybe the Library of Alexandria, or the Library of Thoth, whatever. Light through water. The rooms, the gauntlet, and the door handles. Yeah, so all of these are available at brands.potatocore.com. More to come if, like, as I work on those things. Like right now I'm in Hot Potato Games. I should probably do it for Hot Potato Games. But here's our most recent update for Potatoes. We have a lot of meetings. Someone proposes something reasonable. They talk themselves out of it. Someone else says the same thing louder. Everyone agrees it's genius. So it's this parody of corporate not corporate, startup culture, but also with some corporate stuff thrown in there. Like, it's for the people who are chronically online, doom scrollers, the underachieving overachievers, the paralyzed whose condition is rooted in analysis, the doers who just need rails. You see, but this is cursory. This is not as sophisticated as the ideal customer profile should be. The ideal customer profile is going to have fears and fears and passions. You're not serving someone unless you know what they are afraid of and you know what they are passionate about. Their wants and needs, they already know where to get what they want. They already are getting what they need, or else it wouldn't be a need. But what they're passionate about, they're going to explore and look for something new. And what they're afraid of, you can capitalize on. It might sound a little like dirty, but you can provide for them solutions that can suppress the fear, maybe. Or you can just tell them not to be afraid, and maybe some people just want to hear that. So we've made some choices, like the logo puff. It's supposed to feel like it's in your face. It's ready, like a potato when the bell rings. Then with all the moving parts, it's supposed to feel like that old-timey rubber hose style animation. In this instance, I found that I was reusing this so much that in a variety of different platforms, from iOS to Flutter to web, that I just wanted this puff to be declared here. I also had this issue a lot where carousels were not truly infinite. That gave me a bunch of issues. I was annoyed by that. These are some things that get sewn on to some of my products. Tater tot, chip, pierogi, French fry. These are the alternatives to our primary potato. Like these I could probably change. I wanted it to be exhaustive, so I had it generate these things. I haven't really found instances where I'm going to be using these though. So this I use. Fiery orange, morning sienna, the golden shade. We have our models. They're all skinny. I'm a big boy. All right. Copper tints. We are about at time. I got like 1 minute left. The universe awaits. The impact headline. I like this one. It's good for potatoes, but part of me thinks that they need to be a little bit more professional. I like how it did all of these though. I'm thinking that as I move forward, once all of these brands are integrated, all of these will exist. So for Potato Core, what is this? We need one for brands. All right, photography. These are AI generated, but I do have like these pants now, these shorts. I want to make a pair of those. I really like the potatoes t-shirt, so I have one that actually says Potatoes Established 2025. This actually exists, and I love it. It's I wear it on special occasions. It's a little bomber jacket. We sell that at potatoes.com. We sell this hat. Now these shorts, they're marked sold out. I have a supplier that
made me one. It doesn't have these little the the pointy part here. They're just flat, and they're not really good for exercise. And I want them to be good for exercise or good for like swimming. I just got a pair of black ones that are like, I really like them for running, but they don't have pockets. So the next time I use that supplier, I'm gonna have to check and see if they can add some pockets, because I probably won't use it as much if it doesn't have pockets. It came with this jersey, mobile first, background, designed for viewports. Yeah, like we have all these rules, and the skill itself will like it will generate the skeleton, but you have to know what you're looking for, the things that you want. And maybe just by watching this video, you've got some ideas for how you want to prompt Claude Code after the session's done. And then once you're done, you'll have this downloadable PDF of the content. Now, the downloadable PDF, because this is really dynamic, I could probably make a skill that says take the current one and then make sure that the downloadable PDF is well formatted. That would be if I was like selling this as a product. I'm showing you what's possible. If you worked with me, those types of things become like second nature. We just do those things. But there's so much stuff like that that I don't just do all those things anymore. I'm like really focused on what I'm working on, which is Flappy Tot right now, or Tater Dash. Yeah, so we've got badges, form inputs. These will be consistent across my platforms, so long as I point them at this document. If you don't point them at this document when you make a new project, it's not going to build like this. So after you do this, it's worth telling Claude Code, hey, whenever I'm working on this project, make sure that I use this. I'm also yawning way too much. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful, and maybe I'll see you again later.